was the one who really wanted to call this
No.
meeting. It just,
Yep. I
So-
understand, but there's 5 of us who have joined
Okay.
on time, so.
Okay. Take it away, Jill.
Is it okay to, okay.
James, is it okay
Yeah.
if I go to audio only?
Yeah.
You don't, okay, good. Graduation was last night. It's been a long night.
Yeah. It's
Thank
fine.
you. I'll still be
Yeah.
here in audio.
Okay, so I want to call the meeting to order today, the special meeting to select a member for this advisory committee. So do we have any, it's the authorizer committee. Do we have nominations presented by board members? During the meeting, I know that Janet volunteered to do it in this interim just for this meeting while we could then have some more time to collect names for a more permanent member. So is that the only nomination on the table or the only option right now?
Do we know if she's still interested in doing that? I know she had mentioned it, but then we talked about the potential for conflict, and then she said, oh yeah, but I don't know if she confirmed. I mean, I can reach out to her and ask her.
This is Michelle. I know I was not able to participate in the last meeting, but if there aren't any other nominations coming forward, I would recommend that we revisit the original proposal of allowing the executive director to have discretion to appoint a member.
So just so you know, there are some names that I have. I just haven't. I was waiting for the board to tell me what to do before I reached out to any of these people because I didn't want to overstep my bounds. I mean, there are some folks that I could think of them that would be good, that were, are totally apolitical, we're in the charter space, don't have any connection that I know of. But again, I don't know if they're willing to do it because I haven't asked them yet because I didn't want to, again, overstep my bounds. So I don't have any names right now. Personally.
Okay, so but the board has not presented the team with any names. Okay, so the motion on the table right now then is to revisit the original proposal that allows the executive director to select a nominee for the authorizer committee.
Yes, that's my recommendation, or I'd be happy to make a motion if that's appropriate.
Sure, if you would like.
Sure.
To make that the motion.
Yes, I'd like to present a motion to allow the executive director discretion to appoint a member to the authorizer committee.
Okay, Dr. Goff has made a recommendation or a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and do we want to have any discussion about this?
Just a process question. Do we have a sense of how, sort of what the process is? Are there multiple meetings in this sort of decision-making process? Will the proxy come back and report to the board before making a final decision? Or we're giving someone we're empowering someone to make a decision on our behalf?
Right. We could, make that, the thing is there's no process, right? So we're developing a process. We're actually meeting tomorrow, all the statewide authorizers, because in light of the IG opinion, which says basically there's no conflict. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. And how each authorizer does it, I have absolutely no problem doing that. What we're going to do, what we were planning on doing was having an organizational meeting, and then, or at least like what I was going to suggest is an organizational meeting to adopt procedures, so that the board, the appointees can all elect their chair or whatever, and then conduct a public hearing at some point, and then have one other meeting where everything is presented, and then they make a decision. Because I think all of us, we have a month, basically, a little over maybe a month to do this, to have 2 meetings. Nobody has appointed anybody yet. So I think folks would rather not drag it out too long. I mean, what it really boils down to is you're just trying to pick between two charter operators as to which should get a building. And I think a lot of the same things that we look at when we make normal charter decisions with regards to location and all of that will come into play. I think that's the feeling I'm getting from the other authorizers, it's like looking at finances and capability and their ties to the community. And I think the public hearing will carry a lot of weight, obviously. One of the folks, the Garitoni group obviously has deeper ties in South Bend, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but from a public hearing perspective, I think that's going to have a big impact on what people, because both organizers are financially I mean, they're not new. The Paramount's been around a long time, and the career academies have been around a long time. So I think what it's really going to boil down to is just who the member thinks is a better fit in the community. And honestly, I don't know. That's why I don't want to be part of this process personally, because I don't know how you choose. We could easily schedule a meeting sometime in between those dates, like maybe after the public hearing, so that the board can talk to this person and sort of hear what they're thinking. But because we were only going to plan on having 2 meetings, it would be difficult to have a meeting where they tell you what their decision is going to be before they actually hear the presentations from the organizers. So, again, I'm happy to schedule a meeting in between so that you can maybe talk about things that are important to you as a board to look at. The board procedures for the committee have not yet been drafted. So again, if you guys have ideas as to what you want to consider important, please send them to me, because they're not ICSB procedures. The committee will have to adopt them. But if you want to give this individual certain guidance as to what you want them to consider, that's certainly acceptable, right? Because as you said, they do represent us technically as a board. So, I mean, we're all sort of flying blind here, to be honest. But, your input is certainly welcome on both sides, both the individual and how they should, things that you think are important with regards to making the decision. And I'll certainly share the procedures with you. So, are there any other questions?
Yeah, I've just got a comment. James, you and your staff have done a yeoman's job in trying to make this work. I mean, I can't imagine anyone doing a better job than you've done trying to make this work. And I guess my only comment would be, I'm so appreciative for the willingness to schedule this meeting. And I'm so willing to be in any other meetings that are helpful for it. I guess my comment would just be, and it's not a criticism of the staff or you at all. The reason why it's so difficult for us to do this is we have what I guess charitably I could say would be an inadequate statute that just doesn't really think through what's actually happening or address the difficulty of trying to make a decision on how to give a building that is owned by one public entity with the taxpayer money within that community to another entity that's a public school but is privately operated, and in the statute then to have the decision in essence be made by a group that includes, is it either, no, 3 private colleges, of which 2 are religious, and it just becomes really difficult. I don't know how it's going to come out, but that's just my comment. That's why it's so hard. I wish that the legislature could have given us more to go on.
I am sympathetic to that. I agree with you. I wish they had done more. I've never really been a fan of this statute for a variety of reasons. I'm not sure that it works. I've made my feelings known over the 8 years that it's been in existence, or however many years it's been in existence, and it just becomes messier every year, I think. But unfortunately, that's a legislative thing. I mean, we can, that's not really, I get where you're coming from. We're doing the best we can with what we're supposed to be doing. But you're right. More guidance would have been acceptable, would have been better. I mean, I think that's a topic for a different day, talking about the actual statute, because right now we can't change what we're supposed to do under the statute. So I think we just try to do the best job that we can. And then if we want to revisit this, if the board wants to have a legislative agenda and talk about, I mean, that's something that I want to, we did that, I think, once way back, and I'm not quite sure why we didn't do it again, because technically this board is a separate entity, body, right? We're not, you all make your own decisions, and if you have legislative priorities related to charter schools and things like that, then we should talk about that. And we haven't done that in a while, primarily because of the weird relationship with the governor's office. But so again, at this point, I think we just need to vote on whatever the motion is and then move forward on this. And, when it comes time for a legislative session, we can revisit this if we think it's bad for charter schools or good for charter schools or needs to be changed or whatever. So.
Thank you for your comments. Is there any other discussion on this motion? Okay, I'll take a roll call vote then. Beth,
Sorry, yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Gretchen,
Yes.
Marianne, Marianne,
Yes.
and Jill is yes. So we have 5 yeses. So the motion passes. And then we had one more agenda item. Is that right?
Just really quick. It's about the board retreat. And I think I think there's dates in there in July or whatever, but I think we're flexible on that. But I think we'd rather have it sooner rather than later. So Nicole is going to be reaching out to you to, try to get that on the calendar. It'll be virtual. So hopefully we'll get good attendance and it won't, interfere with your daily lives too much. And maybe half a day. We're working on putting together an agenda. And actually, what I would love from you all is if there's anything in particular that you would like for us to address or explain or go into detail on, please email me and we can add it and adjust things. I mean, we were hoping to have a conversation just sort of about just a little bit about the history of the agency from where we got to where we are now and what our plans are for the future. And some of it I talked about with the data and transparency and things like that. But also to talk a little bit about just in general, the charter school space, like the laws, where we are now, because it's changed so much and it keeps changing, the legislature just keeps adding stuff. So sort of an update. Some of you have been here a long time. Some of you are just starting. So, it's a matter of, but if there's, like I said, specific things you want to know, we can talk about specific schools. We may have more data by then, iLearn scores, perhaps. So that could be part of it as well. Although I don't know actually if we can do that now that I think about it, I'm not sure we can do that because the executive session exception is only for board training. And I'm pretty sure that would be actual business. So we'll have to think about that. But anything that you can think of that would fit in under the board training exception of ODL, please send it to me. And other than that, you'll just hear from Nikki trying to schedule it. Did I pretty much nail it, Nikki, or is there anything else? Okay. Well, then that's all we had.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you to everyone for making time for this special meeting, and thank you for staff for your efforts. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
We adjourn.
Okay, do we need to call or can we all just say yes?
Everyone just say yes.
Yes?
Yes. Michelle, Marianne?
Yes.
Yes. Jill, really quick, do you want to reach out to Ellis? I mean, I don't want him to feel as if, since he was the one who really was behind having this special meeting, I feel somewhat bad that he was not here. I don't know what the best way to handle that would be. I could reach out to him, but
Yeah, do you want me to do it separate from the rest of the board? I could send a board email that
well,
has our decision, but then reach out to him separately.
again, I don't know. From an ODL's perspective, I'm always leery of all board emails. I don't know if you could just reach out to him and CC me and have him contact me if he has any comments or concerns. I think that would be sufficient. I think it's most appropriate coming from you, though, as the board chair, or the acting board chair, sorry. I just, again, I don't want him to think that like we tried to pull a fast one or something. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, he was the one who pushed for this. So,
Okay,
but I understand that life gets in the way sometimes.
I can do
All right.
that later
Thank
today.
you.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.